Good evening, and welcome to the January 2026 edition of Northwest City Politics. I'm your guest host, Eric Margolis, and I am excited to start our 23rd season. As you know, for over 20 years, we have been bringing you interviews and information about the Northwest suburbs and the cities that make up that geographical area. This day, we're going to talk a little bit about the electoral process in Minnesota, as it is an election year, and this is also part of our programming scope. We're very excited to have this special edition of Northwest City Politics to talk about precinct caucuses, which will be coming up here in Minnesota, and are unique to only two states in the Union, Iowa and Minnesota. And to help us understand precinct caucuses, we reached out to the two major parties and invited representatives. Today we have with us the vice chair of the Minnesota DFL, Marge Hoffa, and the GOP was not able to attend today's briefing. So, Marge, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
So what is a vice chair, first of all? And tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role in the party.
So I am the first vice chair. We now have a second vice chair. It's a role that I've been very pleased to be part of for the last 14 years. What I do is kind of a little of everything. I help the chair in any way I can to make sure that he can get his job done. If it means I have to be somewhere in Greater Minnesota, I'm in Greater Minnesota. If it means I have to be in the office doing phone calls, I'm in the office doing phone calls. I kind of consider myself somewhat of a utility player. Wherever something needs to be done, I'm there to help the chair.
Wow, that's a really big role. It must take up, a full-time job for you.
Well, it is in a way, but I also do have a full-time job. I do travel for the military. This is my day job, and I love it. It's a great job to have. I work with our military every day. They're wonderful people. But I feel like I also serve the people of Minnesota in my role as the DFL vice chair. So they seem to go together. So I like both of them, actually.
So it's a volunteer position?
Yeah, it's pretty much a volunteer position. It is a lot of responsibility. It does put me on the DNC, so the Democratic National Committee. Mm-hmm. It also makes me part of the Association of State Democratic Committees, which I serve on the executive committee with that organization. And that's all the 50 states, 7 territories, and we share best practices, and we try to help each other whenever we can. So.
Wow, that's a really big role, especially for a volunteer. But I think that's important to call out because all of that really starts party involvement with precinct caucuses, which are now coming up on February 3rd, Tuesday night, right, 7 p.m.
That's right, and that's the first place you can actually fight back against Trump and all of this retribution tour that he's on. Obviously taking it out on Minnesota with a very small immigrant population compared to Texas or Florida, some other states, but he's decided to, occupy Minnesota and be as cruel and inhumane as possible. Caucuses is where you can start that fight, and we really need people to participate.
So what are caucuses? For people who aren't familiar with the caucus process, right? So you've attended caucus, and I've attended caucus in the past. What exactly is it?
Well, it's really just a neighborhood meeting. You're getting together with your neighbors. It's not some large group. It's just the people in your immediate area. Some of the people you've probably said hi to on the street. Some of them you see in the grocery store. They're very close by. And you get together and you start talking about things that are really important to you, issues, perhaps you're a big environmentalist, or perhaps, gun violence is a big concern for you. Mm-hmm. You can do resolutions there. You can make sure that your voice is heard, and then you convince your other caucus attendees to vote for that issue, and then it goes to the next level to hopefully have other people agree with you on that, and then eventually they get up to the state level where it actually gets put into our platform.
So let's talk a little bit about getting up to the state level and also about resolutions in general. So if you are interested in participating in caucuses, which everyone at home should be, both the major parties, so the GOP and the DFL, they have caucuses on the same night. It's on February 3rd, right? And the meeting starts at 7 p.m. But you attend caucus not really based on party affiliation. You attend caucus based on geography. So where you reside, the city that you live in, the precinct that you're in, and then of course you decide if you want to participate in the DFL caucus or the GOP caucus.
Right. But it's still very, very local, very local. And, as we've talked about before, you and I, it's always the first Tuesday in February unless the both major parties decide a better date would work for both of them. And it's only happened once since I've been vice chair, because they would both have been penalized at the national level for delegates. So they both had a common interest, so they actually agreed on something.
Yeah, excellent. Yes,
Yeah.
And of course, it used to fall later in the calendar year, right? If I recall correctly, it used to come more like in the March timeframe, April timeframe, and then it got moved to February, I believe after that discussion where they agreed. And also it's dictated in state statute, Minnesota state statute, when it has to happen and also what takes place. So for example, this year, since it's a gubernatorial election year in the state of Minnesota, right, there'll be a straw poll.
Correct. There will be a straw poll because that's part of the statute.
Right. And so we've heard from the Republican GOP party of Minnesota, their candidates, so they'll also have a straw poll. But on the DFL side, is there going to be a straw poll?
There is going to be a straw poll. And more of that information is actually coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
So I don't have a preview for you, but there will be one for sure.
Okay.
And I don't know who all is going to be on it.
Right, because it's an open seat, which
that is right.
has not happened in a while.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be really important because the straw poll, the preferential ballot, kind of gives a pulse as to where the candidates are polling. It's the first real major test of viability for being endorsed by your respective party. So it'll be really fascinating to see how those things turned out. I know there's quite a few people on the GOP side who have been campaigning and wanting to fill the role of governor of our state. But, we're all excited to hear who might come forward on the DFL side.
I would say that we will have candidates that will step forward, but I think that they're being very sensitive to what's going on in the state right now. And I think it would be taking away from the importance of us really focusing on taking care of our neighbors, making sure they get groceries, making sure that they get, the kids driven to school or get to the bus stop, those kinds of things. I think as the DFL, we are more concerned about the people than we are about the process at this point.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's a difficult time for lots of Minnesotans.
It's very difficult.
And honestly, it's one of the questions I know that I have for you is what sort of precautions are going to be in place? Because I think it's important for the viewers at home to understand that, anyone who is at least 16 years of age and will be turning 18 by election in November of 2026 can participate in caucus. It doesn't matter what your party affiliation is because if you come in that day and decide that you want to caucus with, the DFL party, you just have to attest that you want to participate and that you're a
Democrat.
And that you're a Democrat. Likewise, if you go to the GOP caucus, you would do the same thing.
I can't speak to that.
That's fine. And so, but a lot happens in that meeting, and it's not just about the governor's race and the preferential ballot, but it's also about local offices, everything from some of the county offices that are up for election here in the NorthWest suburbs. We have the Hennepin County Attorney. There are a lot of state legislators at the House who are also seeking support from delegates, and the process to becoming a delegate, right, begins by attending precinct caucus. Can you tell us a little bit more about that part?
Well, and I think the caucuses are a good way for those candidates to drive people, to get them to participate in caucuses, to get them to become delegates. So it's broadening the participation because we have, 5 candidates now for Hennepin County Attorney?
Yes.
So every one of those candidates is going to be calling their supporters and say, I want you to go to caucuses because I need you to become a delegate to support me for the endorsement.
From the Hennepin County
Delegates.
endorsing body.
Yes, from that body. Your district, my district, we both also have local legislative races where they are seeking the endorsement, which is the first step to become that as well. So we've got all these different factors where people are trying to get you to participate to support a particular candidate. But also, there's issues. People go just because there's an issue that's super important to them.
Right.
And I know one of them near and dear to a very good friend is gun safety.
Yep.
And I think that's going to come up in the legislature, and I think it's going to be very big at caucuses, considering everything that's happened in the last year.
With the assassination of Speaker Emeritus Hortman and her husband Mark, and the political violence that we've seen on elected officials. In fact, here in the NorthWest suburbs, right, we really felt that because these legislators were our representatives, but also part of our communities, and it's been a great loss for us. And so that process of coming forward and advocating for an issue like gun violence prevention, that begins by bringing forth a resolution, right? And there's a form that can be used where you bring this form, or it'll be available at Precinct Caucus, and you write out the issue and why you think it's important. What happens after that?
Well, and I will say too, Eric, that this form, a lot of times organizations will have this with all of the verbiage already on there for you. If you go to the various websites for whatever issue that you're passionate about, you should be able to Google that organization, and they'll say, we want you to go to caucuses, and here's all you have to do, and it's already baked. So, and then you bring this to your caucus, and you talk about it, why you think it's so important, why you're passionate about it, and then they vote on it.
Right. If the caucus, your people from your neighborhood and your precinct who are meeting together agree that this is something that should move forward, then it gets passed and it moves through the process, right? It goes to the next level.
It does. It goes to the Senate district where they do the same thing. They take all of them from every single precinct, and then they kind of put them together. Some of them will maybe be put together because they're almost identical.
Sure.
So they'll try to consolidate them into, are you talking about, is there something about food safety, or if there's something that, maybe it's about work conditions or labor issues. There's a lot of reasons why people think that it's important to fill this out, and it does reflect our values
as the Democrats,
as the DFL, as this is who we are.
Because ultimately, this resolution that starts in that precinct meeting could make its way to be part of the platform of the party, and that everyone will advocate for. And that's what's really unique, right, about the caucus system in Minnesota, different than even in Iowa. And it's really the only place where you can go into your meeting and meet with your neighbors, talk about something that's important, organize, and have it then become part of the platform of the Democratic Party in this case.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that all starts, that process, by going to that precinct caucus. And of course, how do you find out which precinct caucus you belong to and how you can get there, right? There's some resources. I believe dfl.org/caucus is one place where you can go. And then, of course, there's also the Secretary of State's website.
Right.
I believe there's caucusfinder.sos.mn.gov. We have the links for people that we'll share as well. And you just put in your address, and it'll tell you where your caucus is located. Yep. And surprisingly, it'll probably be at a school.
Yeah, probably. Right. Most of them are. I think yours is at a school. Mine is at a high school.
Yeah, majority of them are held at high schools or schools, auditoriums or classrooms. It's a familiar landscape where people, are bringing their children. Of course, it's at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd. But this year might be a little different, right? It might be difficult. People may not feel comfortable going out, especially given the current climate within Minneapolis and the surrounding suburbs. What is being done to try to help people and reassure them?
Well, a couple of things. We have a non-attendee form that you can fill out and send to your chair of the district you live in, and that's also going to be on the DFL website. The other thing is we are working with safety experts and our attorneys to make sure that caucuses are as safe as possible. So it's something we take very seriously. Safety is very, very important. So we are working with every single district in the state to make sure people feel safe where they're at. And if not, to fill out one of those non-attendee forms so they can still participate. And they can still send in, if you fill out a non-attendee form, you can still fill out a resolutions form too. If there's something you really feel passionate about, but you don't feel comfortable going in person, you can also email that to your chair as well. So we want as many people as possible to feel like they're being heard. And I think this is a year that's super important that we hear from as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And the non-attendee form, which is available, like you said, at the DFL website, it's a form that allows you to participate in the DFL precinct caucus and not physically, if you're not able to be there. Maybe it's because you have to work that night.
Right.
Maybe it's because you don't have childcare. Maybe it's because some other, but you don't want to miss out on the opportunity to have your voice heard and counted. That form, then you can send it with a neighbor. You can send it.
You can email it to your district chair too, and that's on the website as well. We are very child friendly, however, so if you want to bring your kids,
excellent,
bring them. We love having kids around.
So yeah, that's a great point, right? So it's in a school. So
it's in a school. Kids
probably don't want to go back to school Tuesday night, but I mean, it's probably their local school in some cases. Yeah. And ours, I have an interesting Senate district. I live in Senate District 43, which has a retiring state senator. Senator Ann Ress is not seeking re-election. And then we have two representatives, like every other Senate district, on the A side and the B side. So in our Senate district, all three seats are up for essentially election. And in our case specifically, and so for the viewers at home, this is New Hope, Crystal, Robbinsdale, part of Plymouth and Golden Valley is Senate District 43. So if you live in those cities, your representatives are all seeking different offices. So we have a state representative who's now going to seek the state Senate seat. We have the other state representative who's wanting to become the Hennepin County attorney. And so that's going to be really interesting because all those candidates, which I'm sure there's quite a few, are all going to be visiting precinct caucuses, like you're saying, and wanting to earn support ultimately so they can be endorsed. That's the goal, right? Right.
And when they seek the DFL endorsement, there's a lot of people they have to talk to. And that's and that is another way, because you're going a lot of these caucuses, you're going to either see the candidates themselves or they're going to have a representative that shows up to tell you why they think they are the best or why their representative thinks they're the best candidate for that position. So you also get a little more insight to the individual candidates by going to caucuses. It's not like you're just reading a mailer that you get that says they've done these things and these people support them. It's actually having more of a personal interaction, either by the candidates themselves or by a representative, which I think is really insightful.
Yeah, because you get that one-on-one time to ask your burning question, to find out more about them. And of course, we try to invite them on this show so they can also reach a wide audience as well. So what the other thing at Precinct Caucus, right, and is that you don't endorse at that time.
No.
Right?
Right.
So if you really want to help a candidate achieve endorsement, you need to become a delegate, right? And that's also what takes place at Precinct Caucus, right? There's
Right.
elections for, you want to talk to us
Yeah,
about
so at precinct caucuses, every Senate district or every organizing unit will get a certain number of delegates to go to that, but the caucus itself will have, say, 23 out of your precinct can go to the Senate district convention. Okay, then you have to elect those people out of your precinct at that night. They can't just fill in names later and add
Right.
to it. They have to be
To be
elected,
elected
that
day.
night.
That's right.
And then they go to the Senate district.
Where the actual convention for endorsing these candidates would take place.
If it's a Senate district or House district, that's the level. Not for the governor or the U.S. Senate, that's another level.
That's at the state.
At the state level, which
Right.
if you would then from the Senate district level you would run to be a delegate to the state.
So you would run also for your congressional district.
That would make you an automatic delegate to your congressional district
Right.
if you're a state delegate. So if you've got like there's certain congressional districts in the state where they've got multiple people running for
That's right.
for Congress.
Yes.
And
Here in the 5th congressional district, we have our congresswoman who's running for re-election, and also the Republicans are going to run candidates as well, right? So
well, and also for the endorsement, a lot of the congressional district incumbents, or even if it's an open seat, they have more than one person running, especially this year, because there seems to be more interest than ever to actually be that positive change that they want to see.
yeah, absolutely, for sure. When this episode airs at home, right, we will have heard and achieved the 1-year mark of the current administration. And I think it speaks for itself. And this is an opportunity for the viewers at home and for the citizens of Minnesota to really have their voices heard. And right now we live in a time where we see neighbors looking out for each other and looking out for others. And to me, this is an extension of that. This is an opportunity for those same neighbors to come to Precinct Caucus to try to change current law, change current priorities, advocate and work for a better future for everyone, and for better elected officials, and for better laws, right? So definitely encourage people to take the opportunity to go to Precinct Caucus and just have those conversations, get involved, because there's a lot at stake at many levels, and this is an opportunity that we don't want to let pass. It's good to know that the parties are doing their part, like the GFL, to ensure that people can attend and that many obstacles are removed from their ability to be there. What other things about caucus night can we share with the viewers at home before our time, which is almost over, expires?
Well, I guess what I would like to share for sure is there are a lot of working folks out there that may feel like their voice has been lost. This is your opportunity to actually make sure your voice is heard. And we're the party that's going to push for affordability, the party that's going to push for those things, but we need people to participate and to make those changes from within. So I really encourage everyone to attend caucuses and to make sure that if they've got an issue that they're really passionate about, to make sure that they share that and fill out the resolutions and talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. You'll be surprised how much you have in common, and you'll be surprised sometimes of who shows up.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it really is a neighborhood meeting that happens on February 3rd at 7 p.m. At your local school, most likely, down the road from where you are currently living. And people should definitely attend. I think it's something that we want not only participation from all Minnesotans, but young Minnesotans too. I think helping to reinforce the civic opportunities that exist for our democracy more than ever today is probably paramount to the future of our democracy, because I think there's a lot of disenfranchised young people who, really need to understand that their voice matters and that their opinions matter, and it's their future, and it's an opportunity for us to rally around them and all of our neighbors. And so I hope that viewers at home are able to attend. And again, you can find information about precinct caucuses at dfl.org/caucus or also at the Minnesota Secretary of State's website, where you can look up your caucus location. Marge, it's wonderful to see you again and to have you on the show. I'm really glad that you were able to come out here and share this important information with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I came. This was good.
Thank you for being here. Yeah. To the viewers at home, hang on, and it's going to be an interesting time for all of us here. But we're going to get through this together, and we're going to continue to bring you the opportunity to learn more about your elected officials over this next year. We have a lot of guests lined up, and we're really excited to bring this content to you. So, as always, be well and have a good night.